Holly Williams joins us from Raqqa province. Holly, describe what it's like there right now.
Well, Vlad, it's a war-ravaged city. It looks a lot like the other towns and cities we've seen that have been newly liberated from ISIS. And remember, we were in the part of Raqqa that has been freed from ISIS control. Some of the buildings have been flattened. Those have obviously been hit by airstrikes. Others are pockmarked. They've been hit by artillery or mortars. There are soldiers around. There's noise. There's obviously gunfire. You hear that the whole time. But it's also kind of an eerie place because at least in the part of town that we saw, there are no civilians at all. They all left long ago.
Holly, how were you and your crew able to get in?
Well, we travelled into Raqqa with America's partners on the ground here in this part of Syria. They are known as the Syrian Democratic Forces. They're really a ragtag army. I mean, we've been visiting this part of Syria and filming with them for nearly 3 years now. Until very recently, nearly all of their weapons were really just light arms. More recently, they were given artillery and some mortars by the US. They have a few armoured cars. But by and large, they are pretty lightly equipped, and they are the guys doing the fighting against ISIS on the ground in this part of Syria.
And Holly, how close do the forces backed by the U.S. military think they are to retaking the entire city?
Well, you know, they throw all kinds of figures out there. We were speaking to one of the leaders of the Syrian Democratic Forces last month. She said that in their opinion, they would retake the entire city by August. Is that true? I just don't know. The US military told us that they believe that there are around 2,500 ISIS fighters still inside Raqqa. Whether that's accurate, not entirely clear. A lot of them are obviously hiding inside buildings. They're very frightened of airstrikes. But what we can say is that they are now close to being entirely surrounded. The Syrian Democratic Forces are on the east, the west and the north of the city. And on the southern side, they're cut off by the Euphrates River, where the US military has destroyed all of the bridges with airstrikes. And they've told us they've actually taken out ISIS fighters in boats who are trying to escape the city. So those 2,500 or so ISIS fighters left in Raqqa, I think we can expect that they will fight to the death.
Holly, put this into perspective for us. How big of a deal is it to retake Raqqa? What does it mean for the fight against ISIS?
Well, it's obviously hugely symbolic. I mean, Raqqa was the de facto capital of ISIS and its so-called Islamic State. So it has a lot of symbolic import both for the US and its allies and for ISIS itself. But remember that ISIS territory is shrinking rapidly both in Iraq and Syria. It's not just about Raqqa. Remember also that we think that most, if not all, of ISIS's leaders fled Raqqa a long time ago. And what we're expecting as ISIS territory shrinks is for ISIS to turn its attention away from controlling territory and towards guerrilla warfare. So the loss of Raqqa probably won't have much impact on its ability to do that.
Holly Williams doing some incredible reporting from inside Raqqa. Holly, thank you very much.